Hey guys, what's going on? Back with another zombies video, and believe it or not, this is a re-upload, kind of like a remake, an edited version of a previous video that I made. The first one I made about a year ago, maybe even a year and a half ago. I uploaded it, and it got blocked in a couple of countries, and I think even in the U.S. I think, believe it or not, it got blocked. So it had a lot of actual footage from what I'm going to show you, but in this version, it just has screenshots, kind of to make it more friendly, as they call it, YouTube friendly or copyright friendly. So a lot of it, and I tell people, I just give you the places to look. You can kind of go and dive into it yourself if you want to know more about it. But like I said, about a year and a half ago, I was playing Blackout, Alcatraz Portals. It was a new Battle Royale map in Black Ops 4. And it's the Easter egg isn't in the main map. It was in the Blackout Alcatraz Portals map. But before I even start mentioning that, I just want to kind of show you what I thought back then versus kind of what I know now. And that's why it's kind of like a re-edited version, maybe an updated version with different stuff that we know now. And it kind of is cool that I can see how it's like taking form to an actual solve, how it did mean something back then. But anyways, so in the top photo, that is from the Blood of the Dead Zombies map, where if you knife it, I think with the knife or even the um, golden spork, you get a sketch of a guy, looks like some type of military soldier or officer. And at the time, I made the connection to obviously the Portals map with the photo on the bottom. There was a painting, and funny enough, recently last week I went looking. Luckily, I had this photo still left on my computer because sometimes I'm one of those people where I'll make a photo or a solve and then I'll just delete everything. And I'm like, so long as it's on YouTube, I'm good with it. I don't need to save the files. Or I always think that I can kind of go back in and take another screenshot. But last week I spent maybe 30 minutes and I don't think I found the framed photo on the bottom part. Let me use the mouse. This guy here, his photograph or painting was in one of the houses in Blackout Alcatraz Portals. And the top two photos or images that I have is I think it might even be, just to give her credit, I think it was from Glitching Queen's video, or I either spliced it together, but it might have been from her video, where if you knife this wording or sign on the wall next to the warden's office, behind it, as you can see here, this sketch would show. And at the time, nobody knew what it was. Everybody just kind of assumed maybe it was the warden or Brutus before he died. But like I said, this is an updated version in 2020, and we're in the month of September, about to go into October, and the zombies teaser is about to get revealed. That it might actually be the same guy, or was maybe hinting or foreshadowing of maybe, because obviously Blood of the Dead Zombies map was released on disc, and then a couple months, I think maybe even like January, February, Alcatraz Portals got released as a standalone from the main map, Battle Royale map. It was his own, like I said, Battle Royale map. So I saw this, again, I saw this uh, drawing or artwork, I guess you can call it, or framed in in the Portals map, and I didn't know at the time what it meant. So I'm gonna show you what the solve is, or how it ended up connecting. Either purposely done, cleverly done. I always say, like, Treyarch, Call of Duty. When it comes to zombies, they're very clever the way they do stuff. Or it could actually be accidentally done, an accidental, like, maybe almost like Kevin Bacon, like whatever it's called, like 5 steps of separation or whatever it is. How it you can actually link the two, even if you didn't intentionally do it, but you can actually link World War II zombies with Alcatraz portals. And like I said, this is probably where or what the photo meant. Well, I guess it is purposely done. If this random guy happened to be in Alcatraz, I think they were planning this a long time ago. Maybe they started leaking images or Easter eggs in there. So to kind of say how the solve went and how I did it. So I saw this photo. I'm like, well, that looks like a Nazi officer, soldier, maybe like I think they call it like a Gestapo or something like that. At the time, I thought it was Nazi, but I guess with the yellow star and the red on the hat, that's more like a Russian officer or Russian Nazi officer. So that's why, like, I'm one of those people. I'm not gonna try and. I know a lot of people lie and say stuff on YouTube, but I'm more honest. I'm like, well, this is what I thought at the time, and this how I came to the solve. So, like I said, this is all from Black Ops 4 at this point. So what I ended up doing, I ended up cross-referencing Nazi soldier Alcatraz, and I came across Colditz Castle. Colditz Castle, in the short version, is basically the Nazi version of Alcatraz, and I was like, well, maybe Treyarch added that in as a hint to what's coming or how it was going to link all together. Now, the way it ends up being a solve or tying to World War II zombies, obviously from the era, is one thing. But if you go down here, it says the original castle in 1046. Henry III of Holy Roman Empire gave the Burgess of Colditz permission to build the first documented settlement at the site. It's funny, I thought that said Margwa. I'm like, wow, that would have been an actual, like, another solve. And that happens a lot when I make these videos. Like, I'm reading stuff and it ends up being a solve within a solve. But I was like, does that say Margwa? I'm like, wow, that kind of ties together everything too. But anyways, in the long run, and during 1158, Frederick Barbarossa, who is the um, main focus, I'll put it that way, of World War II zombies. So I guess before he died, Barbarossa, he was considered the Lord of Colditz. Um, it put the castle to being built, and I think the story goes, I mean, there's more you can dive into, but the story goes that he paid people to build a castle for him, something like that. So that's how I kind of came across this whole thing. And then the amazing part is how Call of Duty, Activision, Treyarch, the devs, Blundell, Zelensky, all of them. Well, Zelensky probably wasn't around. How they could manage to keep this all hush hush, and of course some of the keywords also. Dresden is a word used in zombies. I think both in Nazi zombies and World War II zombies. Um, and it talks about Germany. Like I said, I'm not going to go through every single wording, but just to kind of show you how is it solved and where you can look if you want to look more into it. But the thing you should take away from this at this point is Barbarossa built Colditz Castle, which is considered, well, before I get into that, you'll see it. So, and another, this is kind of a solve within a solve. I figured I would include it. So at the end of World War II, I think it's Frozen Dawn, you fight the God King. I watched the video, and I'll give credit to Reed Austin because I think he's the only one that has like any World War II videos up there that's useful, I guess, to watch. In his video, I guess the villain that you fight at the end in the final DLC 4 is called the God King. And that's supposed to mimic the true life legend or story of how Barbarossa, I think he fell asleep in a chair and then he would wake up every couple of years or months. And I can kind of read that part real quickly if I can find it. And it talks about the ravens. Okay, so according to the story, his red beard has grown through the table at which he sits. His eyes are half closed in sleep, but now and then he raises in his hand and sends a boy out to see if the ravens have stopped flying. a similar story set in Sicily. But anyways, if you go watch his video, Reed Austin, you'll see, or anybody's video at the final cutscene for DLC 4. There's a guy called the Rook, I guess that represents the boy, and then this is Barbarossa sitting in the chair as the God King, and then the Ravens are the four campaign characters or zombie characters. This is a solve within itself. I don't want to kind of go off topic, but I just kind of throw that in a bonus in the middle, and that's where the story came about. Anyways, so how everything's gonna, I know this is kind of like touch and go. Like I said, you can kind of look on everything yourself. How I would love it to go and the story to go, and I'll kind of tell you how it kind of maybe is gonna all fit together. Is back when Mob of the Dead first came out, somebody planted all these images and helpful directions for the Mob of the Dead crew, the original Mob of the Dead crew. So my thought would be in Colditz Castle, which is the Nazi Alcatraz, they may have been the first ones to escape Purgatory or Alcatraz, and maybe they wanted to send their knowledge to the other Alcatraz or the other Purgatory in San Francisco, because somebody drew this, and I think at the time maybe Blundell said it was the Weasel, but they obviously did a trial and error that, like, they tried airplanes, they tried balloons, they tried a ramp and stuff like that. And somebody sketched this and left this for them um in Alcatraz in San Francisco in Mob of the Dead. So somebody had previous experience. So I'm like, well, how cool would that be if it was the original Nazi prisoners from the Alcatraz map that Barbarossa built? And this is kind of how everything would tie together. And I said to Call of Duty, and I said to some of the devs, I said, why are you, I mean, first it was pretty clever how it was kept secret for so long. Like, it's almost been like 10 years since Mob of the Dead, or like 8 years, 7 years since Mob of the Dead came out. I'm like, that's so freaking clever and worth the research, how everything was kept, like I said, a secret and eventually meant something. So, and I tell people, the Alcatraz Mob of the Dead story is only half of the bigger picture, and the other half, or the other big part, is the Colditz Castle Alcatraz. I almost said map, but it's not guaranteed it's going to be a map yet, but location, let's just call it, look through the real life location. So there's the story, and I wish I would have included it here, but all these images that you're about to see come from a PBS special called, obviously, Escape from Nazi Alcatraz, and you can find it on YouTube. You can buy it, and if you want to watch the whole thing, you'll see how it's actually kind of more Mob of the Dead than Mob of the Dead is itself, how Blundell maybe knew the legend of both stories. But the rumor at the time is Activision says you can't use Nazi images or anything Nazi. It was causing too many troubles with stockholders and stuff like that, or shareholders. So I'm going to kind of speed it up a little bit now, since you pretty much know what the solve is. So Colditz Castle is considered the Nazi Alcatraz, and there's a PBS special. I'll link it so you can watch it, but you have to pay for it. It's not free. So anyways, couple prisoners did the same thing. They built holes in the wall and they escaped from their cells, not using a spoon though. That's how the Alcatraz San Francisco story fits into it. In this version, I guess they used shovels and it did a couple things. You can watch the special. Like I said, in my first re-upload of this, I included all of that, but not for this one because I'm hoping it doesn't get copyright struck, or copyrighted, whatever. So they end up constructing their own airplane glider, like the Mob of the Dead crew, with the ramp and everything like that. And this is, like I said, how maybe Treyarch was like, maybe, hey, it's time that you guys knew the real story of Alcatraz and Mob of the Dead by putting that Nazi soldier. Again, like I said, I looked and I don't think it's in the Portals map anymore. So this is going forward. It's just a couple images how they built a glider like the Mob of the Dead crew. I know they put engines on theirs and stuff like that, but this one, which in actuality, there's a crew that rebuilt the whole thing. This is what the episode is about. But when you think about it, that ramp is way too small. Like I don't know where they were planning to get to. I know they ended up succeeding a little bit in the PBS special, but in actuality, like you would have to like I think they built the ramp, hit it in within the castle. Then when it was time to move out, then they constructed the ramp. So the guy actually looks like Weasel. That's pretty funny. So this is, I think, a computer image, or they used a crash dummy so people don't get hurt. So they built the glider on the roof of the castle, and the same thing like Mob of the Dead. They why the blood, I guess, is important, and why the bathtub was important with the spork and everything. So in real life, the Colditz Castle crew, I'll call it, they filled it with cement or filled it with something to kind of use as a pulley system to get stuff up to the roof. Something like that, I believe. They were trying to reenact how the prisoners constructed everything. So I think it's something like that. Why the bathtub is so important. They used it, and they're trying to copy what the prisoners did. So here you're just seeing them build the the glider on the actual castle, kind of like Mob of the Dead crew did. And this is just another screenshot, computer image of how the plane would have left the ramp, and then hopefully they just needed at the point to get over the wall, and it just shows like the plane lifting off. This is just a black and white image of, I guess, the real one. Maybe they did take a photograph of it, and this is what theirs looked like. Again, just like a sketch of the ramp before. Maybe that's even how like Blundell decided to make like the sketches on the wall and stuff like that. But that's pretty much it. I kind of went into a little bit more detail than I wanted to, but the long and short of it is that it looks like they hinted a while back putting a Nazi soldier in Blackout portals. I know it's not really a Nazi. I know it's a Russian soldier, but it did lead me to the actual solve. Anyways, again, the name of the special is Escape from Alcatraz, and it's on YouTube, so I'll link it if you guys want to pay for it and check it out. Alright, I'll see you guys later.